The rain fell in quiet sheets, each droplet a whisper of memory against the metal skin of the barracks. Marcus Kane stood by the fogged window, eyes tracing the distant ridges where lightning flirted with the horizon. The clock ticked, slow and deliberate, echoing the weight of nights spent replaying a single command that had gone wrong, a choice that had cost lives. He had returned to Fort Raven, the Army's remote training outpost, after years away in conflict zones most would never imagine. The air smelled of wet pine and gun oil, the familiar hum of generators like an old friend greeting him. Yet inside, a storm raged, a guilt he had never named, a shadow that clung tighter than his uniform. Marcus' boots hit the floor with a measured rhythm. Each step seemed louder than the last, a drumbeat of unspoken regret. The mess hall was quiet, soldiers nursing mugs of black coffee, laughter and stories muted beneath the overcast sky. Then came the crackle of the radio, a coded transmission, clipped, urgent. Kane, you're needed. Immediate deployment. Coordinates incoming. The hair on the back of his neck rose. He hadn't flown a sortie in years, hadn't faced the cockpit of a screaming machine in months. But the orders were clear. The past had caught up with him, and the calm before the storm shattered in a single signal. Marcus stepped into the cockpit of the sleek, aging attack helicopter, the whine of turbines and hydraulics vibrating through his bones. Clouds hung like thick steel wool above the valley, the storm churning with an almost sentient patience. He ran through checks, each lever and dial a ritual. Every light, every gauge, whispered memory, some comforting, some damning. As they ascended, the rain lashed the canopy. Radio chatter came in broken bursts, allies' voices distant and fearful. Marcus' mind flickered to Lieutenant Harris, lost on a mission he'd led weeks ago. Marcus' decision had sent them off course. He hadn't forgiven himself, but the war didn't wait for remorse. The storm worsened. Lightning split the sky, reflecting off the instruments like the flash of a camera exposing every flaw. A warning siren blared, a hydraulic failure. Panic clawed at him, but years of training anchored his hands and heart. He guided the bird with the precision of muscle memory, fighting the machine and the storm as one. Through the chaos, fragmented radio echoes dredged up another memory, the laugh of an enemy he had captured years ago, a face burned into his mind, taunting him even now. Could vengeance, or survival, justify past actions? The cockpit became a crucible, metal, blood, and guilt melting into a single weight. Then came the silence. Not the quiet of peace, but a void that swallowed every warning tone, every human voice. Marcus hovered over the valley alone, instruments dead, the storm's roar deafening, the past and present merging into an abyss. He remembered Harris's last words, cut through fear and static, don't let it define you, Kane. And suddenly, Marcus saw it, what he had been running from, the truth of that mission, the betrayal he had buried under uniforms and medals. In the cockpit, rain streaking the glass like tears, he confronted the memory of every life lost, every choice made in shadow. His hands shook, but not from fear. From recognition. The enemy's laugh, the storm, the ghost of Harris, they were all the same, reminders that he couldn't undo the past, only confront it. Choice spread before him like the dark horizon, follow instinct and escape, or risk everything to save the lives now tethered to his decisions. Heart pounding, he realized courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was acceptance of consequence. Marcus pushed the throttles forward, the helicopter groaning but obedient. Lightning cut the clouds, illuminating the valley below. He executed maneuvers that made survival seem impossible, saving the stranded squad from the floodwaters and fractured terrain. As dawn broke, light spilling like forgiveness across the ridge, he felt the weight lift slightly from his chest. Redemption wasn't a medal or recognition, it was choice, and action, and survival of those he could save. He radioed the squad, voice steady, calm. All accounted for. We fly home. And as the horizon blushed gold, Marcus Kane whispered to the sky, the heavens never forget those they've carried.